All right, so Cliff is now going to assemble his very first lasagna. What we did was make our own sauce mixed with some turkey meat, some extra lean turkey meat, and that just has some very basic ingredients in it: onions, basil, some chopped tomatoes, tomato sauce, that kind of stuff. And we have this pretty cool rice lasagna that you don't need to cook before you put it in the pan. So first layer, Cliff has never done this before, so we'll go through this all together.
If I can cook it and not burn it, you can cook it and not burn it, because I burn everything.
All right.
So here we go.
There's no burning or cooking involved in this part. So your first layer is going to actually be rice lasagna. So you just put a layer on the bottom. And sometimes you have to, like, towards the end, you might have to crack a couple pieces off to finish a whole layer. But it's about 3 that you're going to use. And now you need some ricotta cheese, which we are running out of, so use sparingly. Ricotta cheese, we use the all natural. You can get the precious ricotta cheese from pretty much any market. And
do I use a spatula or do I use a spoon?
I just use my fingers.
Okay, so I need
That's
to wash
really,
my hands.
yeah, you need to wash your hands.
Right.
So really the only way to do it is to, I mean, for me at least, is to use your hands. You can try and use a spoon, but it always just ends up more on the spoon than it does on the noodles. So what you need to do is just make sure your hands are clean, dig in there with your hands, and then spread them evenly across the noodles.
Alright. Oh yeah, I can see that'd be a challenge.
Yeah, it's a real challenge, especially with your first layer. So it really just, matters how much ricotta you like, that kind of stuff. I've actually bought some tofu ricotta before, so if you're lactose intolerant or you just don't like milk products, you can, or if you're vegan, you can use tofu ricotta, which actually tasted pretty good in my book. I couldn't find it again, so that's why I didn't buy it again. But like I said, you can do lots of modifications on this. We use turkey because turkey is lean, and they are not allowed to use steroids in turkey as well. So we use turkey more than anything if we can't find any other natural beefs or anything like that.
Alright, what next?
Alright, so next you're going to need to scoop some mix in evenly, so the spaghetti mix.
Alright, so we grab a little bit of this mix.
And now the key part to putting this in is be very generous on the sides of the mix, because what you want to do is cover the sides and like dig them down a little bit so that they're covering every edge of the noodle. You can imagine that these noodles aren't cooked already, so they're going to need some moisture, as much moisture as possible. The first time I made this, I forgot to do that, and so the edges came out crispy because they weren't fully cooked. They didn't absorb any liquid, and it was a little weird on the edges. So you just want to make sure that you have the edges very well covered, as Cliff does.
It was good. I mean, the first day you made it was awesome, and then the second day, it seems to be on this lasagna, the second day is always like the golden child. Like that's when the flavors really come through.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
That's most Italian food.
Yeah, it's just incredible. Okay.
All right, so now you want to put your mozzarella on.
All right.
And this is some leftover Henry's mozzarella.
Henry's Market. You buy this at the natural food store as well.
We have kind of a hodgepodge right now. We always carry lots of mozzarella in our family, so we're trying to use up the last of our mozzarella. So layer that with a nice layer. A lot of people, you'll see regular lasagnas are like completely crazy chock full of lots of cheese. I prefer to just put a healthy dose in, not a generous dose in, and you're going to be fine with that. So, probably a little bit more down the middle, and you're good to go.
Now, what's nice about the cheeses is they can be I think they can be a pretty good protein supplement to some degree if you're not into eating meats. I mean, that's the problem with the gluten-free diet. It's just like there's really a pretty limited selection of stuff that you can and can't eat because there's so many things that's made on wheat.
Right.
And if you don't figure out what that is relatively soon, you'll start losing weight. At one time, I was down to about 150 pounds, and I'm almost 6'4". And that's when I decided I need to figure out how to cook this stuff, or I'm going to starve to death. And so, of course,
me too.
yes. And Andrea has really helped out with that, and through that process, we found a lot of good stuff, and we also found a lot of crappy stuff. I will be documenting, or we will be documenting the crappy stuff as well as we go along doing it, because it is really a process of experimentation. And so far in our experience, it's been like 50-50. You cook some stuff, it comes out good. You cook other stuff, it tastes horrible. And then there are some things that just aren't meant to be wheat-free, like muffins. We'll get to that in a while. Okay, so I got this awesome like mozzarella thing. What do I do with it?
All right, well, now you need to do your next layer.
Okay, so bust out my next layer.
So you gotta get more of those déboulés. Now, when we talk about what we're doing and, you know, sort of being gluten-free, like Cliff was saying, it's expensive. And déboulés is probably $5 for that pack, if not more. Probably closer to $6 for that pack. So, you know, I'm a very frugal person, and I love eating natural. I think that, you know, paying the extra money to eat organic, non-GMO is very important. It's important to your health. It's sort of like saving you on health bills, hopefully, and I think it's important, but I always pay attention to price. I think that's a very essential item that we're going to include to everybody, is to, you know, really show how much do things cost, because it can be expensive, and, you know, maybe we can all give each other tips on where it costs less.
Or possibly put a user group together where we buy in bulk and then split it up.
Yeah.
Right now our grocery bill went from shopping at Costco $200 a month to, and being in a lot of pain by doing that, to $80 to $100 a week. Because everything in these natural food stores is just so friggin' expensive. But like Andrea said, the flip side of that is the food quality is so high.
It's amazing.
You feel a difference in a matter of weeks. It's just unbelievable how much better I feel, and I think Andrea feels the same way. Like
absolutely,
it's been incredible.
I don't believe that I have celiacs, and I don't believe that I have a gluten problem, but I do. I mean, after sort of, you know, by default being on this gluten-free diet, I mean, man, I feel amazing. I feel absolutely amazing, and I didn't really think about it at first. At first, I'm like, I can't, you know, I shouldn't really go gluten-free. But, you know, I go gluten-free for a week with Cliff, and then I'll go to work, and, you know, he's not at work, so I eat some gluten, and as soon as I eat, you know, something that has, you know, some wheat in it, I'm just totally
lethargic.
Yeah, lethargic. It's like, you know, it's very different. So, you know, I definitely see a difference in it. I see why there's people out there who don't have the disease that are gluten-free, because it makes such a huge difference in your life. And we've only been on this probably a couple months now, and it was incredibly hard at first. We were flying blind. Probably still aren't 100% gluten-free, with Cliff still having some flare-ups. I can tell that we're probably not, but you know, we're getting there, and it's just one of those things that this is a process of recording our progress and showing people that you're not going to be happy probably for a little while. You're not going to notice a difference for a little while, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and the other thing is, to that point, it's not necessarily always, well, for me it's the gluten that causes the issues all the time, but I think the reason Andrea feels a difference between a gluten and a non-gluten diet is that generally things that have gluten in them are mass-produced, cheaply manufactured, and have lots of chemicals and stuff. You think about like things like Twinkies and all that stuff. When you become gluten-free, you cut that kind of stuff out of your diet. You stop eating a lot of junk food, and you spend your time eating a lot of healthy food, and that just translates to energy in your system. I mean, the difference is just tenfold.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think I put on a last layer of mozzarella.
Yep.
And then is that it?
One last layer, and then we'll cover it with some tin foil. I can't believe I call it tin foil. Aluminum foil.
Aluminium.
And cover that with a pretty good amount, because when you take the tin foil off, it'll take probably a pretty good layer off. So yeah, I mean, this is, for me, I like challenges. These are incredibly hard for me at first, but